Testing. I think we're live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's been a while. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. What's up? Just want to make sure everyone's in. Let's give everybody a couple seconds. Let me check my stuff over on YouTube. Over on the YouTube side of things. I want to make sure I'm streaming to all you good boys and girls. Hope everyone's been a good boy and girl for Christmas so that we can have some gains. Give everybody from Uncle Richard, aka the Santa Claus of crypto. Yeah, we've got some people watching. We've got 7 people in the chat. Kevin Hawthorne, good morning from Lakeland, Florida. What's up, dude? Good morning. Archie, good to see you in the chat. All right, it's working. Everything's fine. Everything is going great. What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone spent some good time with the family, friends over the holidays. Yeah, it's basically that week of crypto, or that week of the world where nobody really does anything. You know, everyone takes, I hope you're taking off work, you know. A lot of people take some time off. Prices aren't moving at all because people are probably spending time with friends and family. They're not addicted to the screen trading all day. Just for 1 week of the year, then they're back to it. Then they're back to day trading. Hex Drummer, what's going on? UFO to go. That says the UFO has landed. Hi, says LFG. Star Crypto, good morning. Crypto King, boom. What's up, Hexicans? Good to see all you guys. Yeah, guys, we've been real good all year, guys. So we're getting some gains for Christmas. We're getting some gains in the new year. 24 is going to be bullish for a lot of reasons. All right, the Fed's going to reverse rates. They've hinted at it. As long as their fake made-up CPI inflation numbers continue to stay lower, which, by the way, doesn't mean inflation is gone. It just means it's going up less. It's going up at a slower rate. So stuff is still going to get more expensive. You're not out of the woods with your dirty fiat money. It's being constantly debased every day. You're still working harder than ever before to earn basically less and less purchasing power. The American dream of owning a home for millennials such as myself is slowly slipping out of reach unless you put your money into an asset class that outperforms everything else historically by orders of magnitude. And I'm talking about crypto. And is it going to be Bitcoin or Ethereum? You know, if you want to play it safe in crypto, and I don't even agree with this, but like, you know, this is not what I'm doing personally. But I would say, even if you want to play it totally safe by mainstream normie standards, right? I would go all in on Ethereum, right? But Bitcoin is what everybody knows about. They think that's crypto. A lot of people think crypto and Bitcoin is like the same thing and they don't know anything else, right? But in Bitcoin, you're lucky if you're getting a 3x from here, guys. We're lucky if Bitcoin goes to 120K. And I'm not in crypto for a 3x, and nobody else should be either. 10x minimum, 100x, 1000x's are on the table. I don't see people being that bullish around PulseChain, PulseX, Hex anymore. Of course, everybody used to be, but predictions change in the bear market, and everyone's going to get way overly bullish at the top of the bull market. That's just how things are. I'm just going to try to say what I've always said. I don't really think, if you look at videos of me from a year or two ago, the possibility of PulseChain doing 1000x is still on the table when you measure from bottom to top, right? So that would just mean PulseChain would hit about 3 pennies for us to have done 1000x technically. 3 to 5 cents technically. Now, is it going to stay there? No, it's just a price prediction too. I don't have a crystal ball, just pulling numbers out of my butt like everybody else on the internet. But it's possible. It's possible. I'm very, very bullish on the whole entire ecosystem when you understand what's going on in the macro and the micro. Okay, the macro is what's going on in the Federal Reserve. The interest rates are coming down. The Bitcoin ETFs are coming. Maybe you could even throw the halvening. Bitcoin halvening event is coded, baked into the code. It's a mathematical guarantee happening in April. And these things are almost known certainties that are happening in the macro. It's going to be an incredible 24. Fingers crossed that we don't get cut short and we end up pumping up until 2025 as well, deep into 2025. I've always said survive till 25. And yes, I do think PulseChain will be, these are just my predictions, pulling them out of my butt here, guys. But PulseChain will probably be the #1 performer of the cycle. And then if I had to go with number 2, I'd say Hex. If I had to go with number 3, I'd say PulseX. You know, in the back of my mind, and I'd be happy to be wrong, right? Because if I'm wrong, PulseX pumps harder than PulseChain and Hex, you know, that's great because I've got a big bag of all 3. My bets are heavily placed on the Richard Heart ecosystem and some other coins, you know. My portfolio is about 90% PulseChain, Hex, PulseX, 10% other stuff. And that's just because I can't, you know, the newer you are to crypto, the more concentrated you want your bets to be in general. But yeah, I'd like to be wrong about PulseX being the third runner-up in terms of one cycle. But where I think PulseX really starts to shine is in 2 cycles. Like, I think it's a 5 to 6 year. It needs a lot of ramp-up time, because when PulseX really starts pumping from the buy and burn is when you can imagine PulseX being on levels of volume that Uniswap does, or even, let's say, half as much or a quarter as much. But we have a long way to go, because that doesn't happen overnight, right? DEXs don't just launch and become an instant overnight success. And we're already doing, $100 million of volume a day on PulseX. But when those numbers get up into the billions, just like Uniswap does, that's when you're really going to see, automated buy and burn every single day. And there's already been 3% of circulating supply burnt with PulseX, but not saying it's, just not as good of a coin. It's an awesome coin. Owning PulseX is like owning a part of the casino. You are directly invested in the success of the protocol, because the more it gets used, the more is bought and burned off the market automatically via the code. But what I'm saying is that it might take a longer time frame before value accrues to the application layer. That was one of the quotes from SciVive, is that value starts off at the dumb pipes, quote unquote, right? So like back in the day, the railroads or the Comcast, the internet service provider, but then eventually value flows to the application layer over time. So maybe we'll see, Hex and PulseX really go astronomically high in 5, 6, 7 years. And obviously they're all going to pump in the bull, guys. I'm talking about which one is going to do better and which one is going to do less good. I'm talking about just ranking them in terms of they're all going to do good, but which one's going to do more or less good. Let's go hop over to look at some stats. Let's look at some stats over here, guys. What do we got going on? So I wanted to check out the PulseX statistics just to show you guys. And yeah, look, guys, nothing going on in the price today. PulseX, PulseChain, Hex haven't moved. PLS is 0.0000635. We've got PulseX sitting at 172. Hex at a penny. Hex and eHex pumping a little bit. So the ratio of eHex to pHex is currently 1 to 1.8. It's a little bit less than 2 to 1. It's cool. eHex is doing pretty well. They're holding up very nicely. Would love to see it stay at that 2 to 1 ratio. Selfishly, obviously, because that's if you guys have been following me at all, I put in a liquidity position on eHex, pHex at around 0.5 to 1. Or 2 to 1 if you want to take the inverse. But yeah, would love to see Hex stay around this range, and would love to see people bridging in their eHex into the PulseChain ecosystem and backing the value of their PRC20 and stabilizing that ratio, which it seems like we've done, actually. Let me pull up a little chart to show you guys real quick. eHex, pHex right here. So this is just the eHex chart. Let me go to Dex Screener. And then we'll talk about the PulseChain. We'll talk about the PulseChain statistics, guys. Boys and girls. You good little boys and girls are going to get what we all deserve, aren't we? Nice little pumperoni pizza. All right, let's just look for eHex, pHex, all right? We'll look at eHex, pHex. And this is the ratio that I like to watch because it is a good experiment, right? The eHex, pHex ratio is a good experiment in basically what PulseChain was trying to prove out. Is it possible to maintain some solid stabilized ratio of the ERC20 to PRC20? And Hex has the best chance. Obviously, Hex is doing the most successful in this experiment so far out of any ERC20 coin because, most PulseChain fans are also Hexicans, are also Hex holders. But yeah, we've been staying right above 0.5 for about 2 months now. Like over 2 months, really. So I love that this is kind of reverting back to the mean. And I know we don't have too much price data here, but it does seem to be that if I just drew a line, right at 0.5, it almost seems like we've spent an equal amount of time below the line as we did above the line. So when you talk about mean reversion, this looks like a chart that is a mean reverting chart. So will price parity ever happen? Still on the table, guys, still on the table. Who remembers that big argument, right? Price parity versus not price parity. Everybody was taking bets on whether or not eHex would ever reach 1 to 1, and it's still on the table. It is definitely still, I'm not counting it out. PulseChain has only existed for 7 months, okay? We can't really be making certain claims, but it does look like it's starting to revert back to 0.5 to 1, and this is great as a long-term Hex holder on both the eHex and pHex side. I'd love if they stabilized at, 0.5 to 1, aka 2 to 1. 2 E hex equals 1 P hex. That'd be great. And right now it's sitting at 0.55. I like what I see over here, guys. I like what I see. You know, again, a little too early to be super confident about anything here, but hey, reverting back to the mean sounds good to me. Let's take a look at PulseX, shall we? Let's take a look at PulseX. We've got 42 million total cumulative trades on PulseX and $8 billion cumulative in volume. This cumulative volume, guys, of that volume, 0.06% of every trade is going to buy and burn the PulseX token. So when you're investing in PulseX, you are investing in the success of the platform. You're betting on the fact that more people are going to use this. And right now there's $116 million liquidity. That also goes up and down with price a lot. And the more people that use it, the more is bought and burned because some tiny chunk of trading fees is routed into buying the PulseX coin off the open market. So it's like a buyer of last resort. Now on Uniswap, they had this fee switch option that they built into the code, but they never used it. So imagine Uniswap, but they're actually utilizing the fee switch. And rather than having the fee switch go to a centralized middleman like Uniswap Labs, it goes to the people. It goes to the holders of PulseX effectively. Not directly, right? But it effectively gives value to all the holders of PulseX by being a buyer of last resort. So yeah, you're basically buying into a share of an exchange, kind of, right? You're owning a share of the casino, and the success is proportional to the volume done on the exchange. More volume, more buy and burn. I know that's a review for a lot of people, but hey, if you're new here, that's what PulseX does. That's why it's so cool. That's why I'm invested in it pretty heavily, and a lot of people I know as well. So make your own decisions, not financial advice, but that's why it's such an interesting idea. And obviously it's forked from Uniswap v2, which is one of the safest, most battle-tested, decentralized protocols. You know, Uniswap v3, we've got forks of Uniswap v3 out there. I think it's called 9mm.pro. Use that if you want to, but that really all that gives you is kind of a concentrated liquidity, which is not necessary. But yeah, a lot of people fork Uniswap v2, but not a lot of people have that fee switch actually doing something useful and productive. So what's going on? Let's go say hi to the chat, everybody. Joseph says, I just have 1 million PLS. Oh, well, I mean, that's a good place to start. 1 million PLS is $65. I mean, that's enough for gas money, Joseph. But, you know, I would personally try to be increasing my bag. Again, do whatever you want, guys. Hexmatic says, love you, Hexicans. Yes, love all you crazy crypto freaks that believe in real DeFi, real freedom of speech. Guys, as we all know, PulseChain is the free speech blockchain. It's the anti-censorship blockchain. Blockchains were built to be censorship resistant, and a lot of people seem to have forgotten about that. I saw Vitalik Buterin propose that they lower the number of ETH validators down to a more centralized, like 8,000 validators. They've got 1 million currently. Now, that's more complicated. You know, it's more of a nuanced scenario with that proposal, right? But how decentralized is your blockchain really? You know, Polygon is basically run by 5 dudes. Binance, all the nodes are basically run by 2 or 3 guys. 21 nodes, but who operates those nodes? A consortium of people that can change the rules whenever they want to. So how censorship resistant are a lot of these things, right? You see Bitcoin ordinals, you see those guys. The Bitcoin maxi community is freaking out right now, by the way, because, because they don't know what to do about the fact that, oh, somebody actually added useful functionality on top of Bitcoin. People are doing inscriptions. They're making NFTs on the Bitcoin blockchain. Oh my God, what do I do? I'm freaking out. All these Bitcoin maxis are having an existential crisis because they want Bitcoin to do nothing. There's some group of the Bitcoin maxis, some idealistic lost souls out there, let's say. They're actually arguing about this, guys. This is the drama in every community, right? But the Bitcoin drama is just, it blows my mind how dumb it is, right? You have people that are like, no, Bitcoin should never get better. It should never do anything else. Ordinals are a bug and we need to patch the bug. And then you've got people that are just like, wait, but if you guys can just censor all these transactions, then like, what about the whole censorship resistance thing with Bitcoin? So in a way, they're kind of just making a fool out of themselves by arguing about whether or not they should censor Bitcoin when, you know, I mean, as a kind of almost an absolutist in terms of free speech, right? You don't want to censor anything. Like if people want to put dumb JPEGs and clog up the Bitcoin blockchain, let them clog it up. I mean, there's probably better ways around it, like increasing the block size, allowing more throughput. But man, these people will argue about anything, and they've ended up stifling innovation a lot. The block size wars, a lot of people forget, Bitcoin Cash was born out of Roger Ver's want and need for more throughput and cheaper fees. As far as I know, Bitcoin Cash is doing a lot better than Bitcoin in terms of cheapness. I think Roger's got like a whole small island nation using Bitcoin Cash now, from what I understand. Not endorsing it. I don't think it's going to pump really hard at all, especially... Here's the thing about using cryptos as a currency, right? That's the final stage of money, right? So all money should evolve through these 3 stages. Okay, money should be 3 things: a store of value, a unit of account, and a medium of exchange. Things start off as a store of value. They move into a medium of exchange. And when they're at the top of their S-curve, eventually widely adopted by everybody, they become the unit of account. So the store of value phase is kind of like the pump phase, right? That's when everyone's rushing into it. It's the birth of a new cryptocurrency. That's why Hex and PulseChain and PulseX, when they're new, they're way more likely to pump harder because of the ratio of people that aren't in it yet to the ratio of, to the number of people that currently know about it. So many more people don't know about it yet than know about these things. Obviously, we're messaging. The Hex community is amazing at promotion. Really like nothing else I've ever seen. Like kicking the Bitcoin community's ass in terms of how hard we're working, how we take things into our own hands, our attitude, our optimism, and just having better products in general, right? All that stuff really helps. Builders, developers, marketers, people on YouTube for free, not getting paid to promote. But the thing is, when people start using these currencies as currencies, right? When they start using them to transact and actually buy things, that's not necessarily good for the price either. So... I saw, for example, there's a PulseChain debit card out there right now. And that's good for people that want to off-ramp, maybe with no KYC, in small amounts. I'm not saying you should go do that, but I mean, it might be an option, blockblend.io. But think about it this way, guys. If people start using all this currency to spend money on things, they're selling that currency. That currency needs to be sold in the country's native unit of account, which is going to be their native, or probably the US dollar in most countries, or whatever. The yuan or whatever it might be, ruble, and whatever dirty fiat money it needs to get sold into so that somebody else will accept the other side of the transaction. So, yeah, as I've learned the hard way, I used to sell coffee and I used to exchange it for cryptocurrency. People didn't want to buy coffee with cryptocurrency because they looked at it as a store of value like they should. So by the time I think your currency becomes a medium of exchange or unit of account, I think a lot of the gains are gone at that time because everybody, if they're using it to exchange things, the money supply doesn't really go up as much. People aren't hoarding the money. They're spending the money. So I think there's an equation for that. I'm not too familiar with it, but in economics, right? Velocity of money. If velocity of money goes up, I think the value of the store of value isn't as good. I probably butchered that, but UFO to go says Icosa's moving up. Is Icosa actually moving up? Let's take a gander, shall we? Icosa. Yeah, it is. Wow. Icosa, kind of surprising there. A lot of people were sleeping on the Pulse or the Hedron and Icosa ecosystem. And yeah, I understand. It's overcomplicated. Nobody cares in a bear market about this overcomplicated Rube Goldberg machines that we slapped onto Hex and everything. But what I will tell you guys is that Alex from Hedron, the creator of this coin, is creating basically an upgraded V2 contract that's going to link the E Icosa and the P Icosa together, and the E Hedron and the P Hedron together. So cool. It's pumping today. 15% up in a day on Icosa. Very interesting. And that's good. Some people might say that it's leading the market potentially. I don't know why. I don't buy Icosa personally, but I did buy some at the very beginning and I just staked it for a long time. But that's cool. Yeah, Hex and Hedron and Icosa, for people that don't know, these are derivatives of Hex, right? So if you have a Hex stake, you can mint Hedron. If you stake Hedron, you can earn Icosa. And there's also an auction market for tradable stakes that have expired. So a lot of cool stuff in Hex. We've also got wrapped stakes. So you can actually buy Hex derivatives that are basically a wrapped Hex stake. It's called Maximus DAO. If you haven't heard about those already, check out like the Deci token, the Maxi token, the Trio token. These tokens all just represent a share in a staking pool that we did a long time ago. And they're actually at a discount, especially Deci right now. The Deci Hex price. Let me try to find the most liquid. Here's one of the most liquid. Yeah, look at this thing. It's trading like 22% lower than PHEX today, which doesn't make any sense because, well, if you intend on holding this, the full remaining, I don't know, it's got 9 years maybe left on it, maybe almost 8.5 years left. This thing is going to make a ton of yield, and it already has made a ton of yield. And I think the fair market treasury value for this is like a penny and a half or something, or a penny, maybe 1.2 cents. So way underpriced right now. If you want to buy this token, knowing that it's a wrapped hex stake. If you don't care, I mean, you should know what you're buying. Don't just buy it because I'm saying it's at a discount. It's at a discount relative to the hex that it is mathematically guaranteed to give you in 9 more years. So if you were going to make a hex stake anyway for 9 years, you could try buying some of this maybe. I mean, that's one option that you have. A lot of options in the PulseChain community, guys. A lot of options. Let's look at some stats. We got the PulseChain side. Almost 600. Let's see. Yep, it looks like we're going to crack 600,000 total active wallets. Let's see. Today we've got 11,000 daily active users. We spiked up on Christmas for some reason. 27,000 daily active wallets on Christmas. I guess a lot of people were doing crypto during family time, huh? You guys just couldn't stay away. I don't know why there's these random spikes of daily active users, right? Like we had a spike over here, went up to 38,000 daily active users. I don't know if that's like some new app that came out or why was everybody using PulseChain on December 26th? Why, guys? Why? We've got daily transactions. Oh, let me see. I got to go home now. Yeah. Daily transactions, 280,000, 250,000 daily transactions. That's a pretty bullish sign too. That's higher than a lot of other blockchains, guys. When you compare these stats to a lot of other mainstream blockchains, Cardano, Ripple, Avalanche, Solana, a lot of our stats are better than they are. And they're 3, 4, 5 years old, some of these chains. Hex is 8 months old. 7.5 months old, I believe. Could be wrong on that, but it's less than a year old, okay? 50,000 validators. It's more decentralized than every other chain out there besides Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's just better. The fees are hundreds of X's cheaper. If you want to go look at the gas fees, guys, let's see how people are getting destroyed right now. People are getting annihilated, destroyed on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So currently today, people are paying $35 to swap a coin on the Ethereum blockchain. People are going to Uniswap. They're trying to trade one coin for another, and they're paying a $35 fee in ETH to do that. And what are people paying on PulseChain? They are paying 0.3 cents. 0.3 US dollars, 0.3 of a penny, 42 pulse. You tell me what's better, guys. Do you like paying 13,265 times more money than you have to? Because PLS is the exact same thing. PulseChain is a clone of Ethereum. I don't see why more people, even if you like trading your ERC20 coin, you can bridge all your liquidity over into PulseChain, just like people used to do with Polygon back in the day. I mean, we used to trade Hex on the Polygon network just because we didn't like paying $35 for swapping fees on Ethereum. But guess what? We're 38x cheaper than Polygon 2, 36x cheaper than Binance Smart Chain, 33x cheaper than Zcash, 112x cheaper than Avalanche. We're cheaper than Bitcoin Cash. We're cheaper than Litecoin. We're cheaper than Dogecoin, cheaper than Monero, cheaper than Arbitrum, cheaper than Base, cheaper than Neon. I haven't even heard of that one, guys. But look, all these layer 2s and layer 1s that claim to be, low fee environments, PulseChain is still lower. And it's easier to use because all your coins are already there. All your smart contracts are already there. People can build on it almost as if it's the exact same thing as Ethereum. It's a literal fork. Cheaper, faster, world's largest airdrop. Oh, and also, by the way, 61,000 times cheaper than Bitcoin. If you want to trade a Bitcoin today, it costs $11.44. You want to send a PLS to somebody else, it costs 2/100ths of a penny. That's $0.0002. Pretty darn good, guys. Pretty darn good. Let's look at the validator statistics. Look at these global validators, guys. This big shiny globe. 50,374 validators today. I got to start mine back up as well. Further decentralize the network. Even if you've only got one validator, guys, 32 million pulse is all you need for a validator. 32 million pulse today is $2,000. 32 Ethereum today is a lot more. 32 Ethereum is $64,000 or $66,000 or something. 32 million pulse is $2,000, and one day in the future, I predict that it will not be such a low-priced barrier to entry. It's going to be a lot more expensive to be a validator in a couple years, guys. So if you can get at least 32 million pulse at the very minimum, just so you can run a validator and make passive income. Right now, validators are making 14.6% APY. So you might say to yourself, oh, well, it's only $2,000 and 14% of that is only, what is that? $300 about. Well, I'm only making $300 a year. Why would I want to do that? Guys, imagine when the price 10x is 100x's. When the price 100x's in 2 years, if I don't have a crystal ball, when the price of PulseChain is 100x higher, a $300 APY that you're getting today turns into a $30,000 APY. That's almost like working a part-time job for free. You've got a computer just making you more coins, 30 grand worth a year. If the price does 100x, that's how much you would make today. And you'd get in today for the price of $2,000, which, by the way, if we 100x, that would be, you'd have $200,000 of PLS, and you'd be making 30K a year. Pretty darn good. Now, these APRs might come down as more people enter the system and stuff, but, you know, it's not feasible for a lot of people to get 32 Ethereum these days. It's not feasible. So a lot of people want to, I mean, if you want a more fair, lower barrier to entry ecosystem, it only costs $2 grand to get your validators today and set them up at validatorstore.com. UFO to go says Katie's boobies, LOL, should have been NFTs, not just a meme. Yeah, I do think that would have done better as an NFT. But don't get rugged out there, guys. There's people trying to prey on you. They're making meme coins. Yes, they're funny. Yes, they're funny. Someone literally tried to paint a pair of boobs on a token called Boob. I'm not even I don't want to pull it up because I don't want people to buy it. But yeah, that's the level of degeneracy that we're at right now, guys. We're just bored. We're bored at the bottom of a bear, guys. We got a lot to be bullish about, though. A lot to be bullish about. Zach Davis wants to know. What's up, Zach Davis? How are you, my friend? Is there a CEX on PulseChain, or will we need to bridge over to Ethereum when it's time to take some profits? Yeah, I prefer bridging over to Ethereum, but yeah, you can use the centralized exchange. You actually don't need to bridge at all because we've got Coast right now. We've got 0xcoast.com. If you want to go to gainpulsechain.com, that's my invite link. You get 5,000 free tokens when you sign up. Gainpulsechain.com is going to be your fiat on-ramp and off-ramp without having to bridge. Now, yes, you can still use Coinbase, Kraken, and all that other stuff, but you'd have to sell it for Ethereum and bridge it back into Ethereum land and take profit that way. But yeah, the centralized exchange that everybody's using right now is gainpulsechain.com. It's one of my favorites. You can wire money directly from your bank account. You can hook up to your bank account, you can wire money in, and get all your stuff figured out within minutes, like 5-10 minutes. Make an account. It wouldn't hurt to make an account, right? It's just like every other exchange, and this is going to be one of the premier exchanges on PulseChain. It already is because it's live today. It's live in the USA and a lot more countries as well on the way. They got about half the world covered in terms of countries that you can use. And it'd be nice to see more fiat exchanges too. We've got Kanga, but I know of some people potentially working on trying to get listed on MEXC or what else? I don't know, maybe KuCoin and stuff. But here's the thing is, like, you have to pay exchanges bribes or extortion fees to go list on your exchange, because if they want to be the market maker, they often make you provide the initial liquidity for them. And it's a double-edged sword, right? Because these exchanges get hacked and go down all the time. But yeah, more fiat on-ramps is net positive as long as people are only using them for the on-ramp and off-ramp. Right? If you're going to use a centralized exchange like Kanga.com in Europe right now, Kanga will let you buy PulseChain, eHex, pHex, and PulseX right on the exchange. And I think sell it too. But, that's Europe only. So if you're in the USA, you got to try gainpulsechain.com, and it would be awesome to see some more companies doing the same thing. Brown Conservative Capitalist says, good morning. Nice cut, brother. Thank you. Thank you, bro. Yeah, it was about time. The hair was getting a little unruly. Getting a little much. But appreciate that. Crypto Khalil said RH did put out that video on the 25th, so it might have had something to do with the spike on the 26th. Yeah, I guess so. But didn't people dump it? People sold. Everyone wants to treat a Richard Hart stream like it's a price event, but you guys need to relax sometimes, man. Like, one guy streaming, honestly, if people are trading whether or not one guy is streaming on a certain day, I really don't think that moves the price, especially not in the long run, guys. Especially not in the long run. But you're right, Crypto Khalil. Might have had something to do with it. It's like, oh, Richard's streaming. I need to get to my computer and somehow do something. It's like, no, you can just continue buying and holding. That works too. Yeah, careful of that trader mindset, guys. That's what eats people up is they get bored, they get skittish, and they think they got to go buy other altcoins. They got to go diversify into 50 different coins. A lot of people think that, they overanalyze, and sometimes it's just better to chill, stake and chill, take your mind off the charts, take your mind off the Twitter, right? The constant data feed of Twitter is just distractions after distractions, and we've only got limited attention. So everybody's fighting to get a piece of your attention on Twitter, right? If you're not the person putting out and generating the content, being a thought leader, putting out, original ideas or cool stuff to talk about, if you're just consuming Twitter all day, you're basically it's like having 100 people pulling at you from every single direction. And it's just it's not good. I know from experience, I'm not saying I'm any kind of saint, right? I fall for Twitter addiction too. It's almost a joke, right? It's like, oh, we're addicted to Twitter, haha, of course. But really, we kind of are. I mean, myself included, right? I notice that when I'm on Twitter, if I want to go on Twitter and find something to be angry about, I can find something to be mad or triggered about within 30 minutes or less. Guaranteed, every single time. So you get what you focus on. And also, I mean, if you're just going on Twitter blind, you've got people saying, look at my coin, look at this thing, look at that thing. And it gets confusing because people think that they need to act or do something all the time. But I make very few moves in crypto. I dollar cost average down like I am right now. Still buying Hex, still buying PulseX, still buying PLS. And I dollar cost average and I chill for the most part. And every time I do get sucked in, because I do it too, right? I get sucked into some of these meme coins sometimes. Nope, no shade on the meme coin guys if that's what you're into. Just make sure you're early or make sure you're buying the extreme dip. Because if you're buying into the hype and you're like, oh my God, I got to get boob coin because it just pumped 5x in 24 hours. Like you're gonna get wrecked, A lot of people that are new to crypto just need to realize that shiny object syndrome does not work. Taking a long-term view, breathing, stepping away from the charts, stepping away from the constant information feed is generally going to do you better because you don't really need to be acting on everything all the time, right? Let's see. Crypto Khalil says, I know, bro. I just went off on a tangent. Not trying to lecture anybody. It's just like, I do it too, right? Like, I fell for I made like a 10x on PDI earlier this year, right? And I was like, oh, I'm a trading genius. I'm going to go buy like 2 or 3 other meme coins. And then all of a sudden I looked at 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by. I broke even on some meme coins. I lost a couple $100. And I'm like, what did I accomplish? All I did was I went in some Telegram groups. I tried to make up a narrative to myself and fool myself into believing that there was some greater conspiracy here about these meme coins that are just being pumped out every single day. Now that said, some meme coins do have long-term staying power. I think some of them have proven that they're not going away so much. Some meme coins some things in the Atropa ecosystem, maybe, Like I thought, oh, these are going to be gone in a couple months. No one's going to keep talking about them. But the fact that people are still talking about them, if you want to play that game, just know that they're often based off of short-term pumps. So get in early and don't buy into the hype. Don't buy the top, Money Gang Crypto, good evening, bro. Daniel says, nice pumpkin. What are you talking about? What pumpkin? Oh, like a pump? Who is suppressing the eHex? I don't think anyone's suppressing. People just buy and sell all day long. Let's see. RH uploaded video on his YouTube channel. Yes, true, he did. Wait, he did? I uploaded the video for him. I didn't think he was going to upload it on his YouTube channel. Let's go take a look. Let's go take a look at Richard Hart's YouTube channel. Oh, looks like he did. Yeah, he uploaded his own video 11 minutes ago. I'm sure everybody's seen that video by now, guys. If you haven't seen it, you can go look at my channel, go look at Richard's channel. I posted it just because I didn't know if he was trying to, be covert and not post anything. But yeah, looks like he posted it. If you want to watch Richard with a fun background, with a Christmas-themed AI-generated background and some pretty logos, and I optimized the sound a little bit too, you can go watch it on my channel. But if you want good old original Richard Hart, go watch it on his channel. Yeah, pretty good update. Good to hear from him. I think he's going to go hard on the SEC, man. I think he's going to fight back. I mean, everything is basically indicating that Richard's going to fight back against the SEC. People that think he's just going to sit and roll over and, he's calling them out for a lot of things that they've done wrong. They have acted, they've broken the law in certain cases, but a lot of people just don't have the money or time to stand up to them when they try to bully these people and extort them for money. So pretty sure Richard's going to go for it. Pretty sure he's going to win. He might even countersue. He might attack and go on the offensive because a lot of people just play defense, but Richard doesn't seem like that kind of guy. And he's got the money to do so, guys. He definitely has the resources to go on the offensive against the SEC. But obviously, he can't just tell you his plan because, you don't want to lay all your cards out on the table and then just let your enemy figure out how to react accordingly. So he's got some stuff up his sleeve. One more reason out of many I think it's going to be a bullish 2024 is because we're going to see Richard wipe the floor with the SEC. Absolutely wipe the floor. People don't realize. I just retweeted this guy, Nuclear Herbs. Pretty awesome guy, guys. If you want to listen to Nuclear Herbs, go give him a follow. He's comparing the SEC Do Kwon Luna case to Richard Hart. The similarities, basically, they're getting him on a couple of the same things they're trying to get Richard on. But Do Kwon got out of some things, and he also got in trouble for certain things. The things he got in trouble for were essentially just making obvious promises and being cocky and flashy and saying, sit back and watch me kick ass, or talking about how he could just create fake transactions that'll generate fees. Do Kwon said these things publicly, tweeted them or emailed them. And it's not good to see that stuff in writing. So Nuclear Herbs is basically saying, like, this is the difference between Do Kwon and Richard. People say, oh, Richard's, he brags too much, all the outrage marketing, but you never saw him make these promises. It's funny, all the quote unquote humble guys, they actually said a lot more incriminating stuff. It's really hard to find anything that Richard's ever said that's like incriminating against him. He says over and over, I don't work for you and you should have no expectations of profit. You could probably find 50 quotes of Richard saying no expectation of profit from the work of others. And that kind of stuff looks really good as evidence against the SEC. So, look, I think he's going to win. I don't think it affects my ability to buy PulseChain Hex and PulseX anyway. It doesn't affect it, and they can't shut it off anyway. So I've never really been deterred from buying the dip here. I don't know, a lot of people are scared because they just hear SEC and they think it's like, the boogeyman. But they literally cannot shut it off. They cannot shut off decentralized networks like Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX. It's just code, right? Like the SEC is trying to sue code. It's like trying to sue a newspaper. It's like, it doesn't even make sense. Maybe you could sue Richard Hart, the man, but he's not the same thing as the products. And that's what the SEC got wrong. Richard is not the products that he built. The products Richard built are not the same thing as him as a person. So they're trying to claim, he misappropriated funds. And they're looping in Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX in all these weird ways. And they kind of forgot, they didn't even... The whole thing is messy. The whole complaint is really messy. It's got a lot of flaws, logical flaws, factual errors. If you read it, you'll know. If you read it and you have a deep understanding. But just know, if you don't want to care about all this stuff, I understand. It's all probably just a waste of time to try to think about, all the imaginary horribles or all the infinite possibilities that could happen. Just know what he built. Know they can't stop you from buying it. They can't shut it off. And Richard's got a lot of money and a lot of lawyers. And he's signaling a lot of confidence. I mean, the last video was only one of many tweets, many videos, many audio clips. He's going to attack, guys. He's going to attack. It's awesome. We've got a new Hex app on the App Store. This is called hexscout.com, hexscout.com. We've got, Android App Store, your all-in-one, one-stop shop for everything Hex. Top-notch portfolio management, buy and stake. Shout out to the Hex Scout team if you want to go take a look at that. Hexscout.com if you don't have that already. We've also got another app on the App Store, internetmoney.io. Internetmoney.io. Maybe I should just go to my Twitter page, right? I'll just read stuff from my Twitter. Lol. X.com. The Everything app. Oh, shit. I'm not logged in. Can I look at... Oh, I also got to 40,000 followers the other day. Nice. Let's see here. Coffee Caffeine Tour. Yeah, this is me. Get out of here. Oh, this is an imposter maybe. Ah, this is just a screenshot from a long time ago. All right. Crypto Coffee 369. Don't fall for imposters, guys. A lot of imposters out there. They'll make the O into a 3 or something, or they'll make the O into a 0. Don't fall for it. Please don't fall for it. All right, guys, whatever. That's just old, some old, yeah, it's not relevant anymore. JD Hex says the SEC is imploding. Gary is just waiting to get his sweet new position that he was promised, guessing from his Goldman slugs. Yeah, yeah. You know, Gary used to work at Goldman Sachs. He was the youngest partner ever to achieve that role at Goldman Sachs. It's obvious that he's making laws in accordance with helping out his friends and doing nothing to protect investors, right? Especially in the crypto realm, but he's pissed off a lot of people, even in mainstream, even in the banking sector. He just pisses a lot of people off. Congress is mad at him. Congress is basically proposing the SEC Restabilization Act, they're calling it. It's basically Fire Gary Gensler Act. So they're trying to get him out of there. We've got a new election cycle, and if somebody new is in office, the chance of him getting out is even higher. So the longer this drags on, I mean, this also, yeah, it also increases the chance that Gary just goes away. Now, I'm not saying the whole case goes away, but it definitely makes a statement, right? That the SEC needs to change their actions and stop doing this regulation by enforcement and just make some goddamn rules. Make some new rules maybe for a new asset class and stop trying to apply, you know, the arbitrary Howey test, which is not that arbitrary, which, by the way, all these things fail the Howey test anyway. PulseChain Hex and PulseX were designed specifically to fail the Howey test by failing the leg of no expectations of profit from the work of others and possibly a couple more legs as well. And if you fail any of the legs, then you're not a security. So we were designed with that in mind and have solid legal opinion letters as to why these things aren't securities, okay? But on top of all that, it's like when the regime changes and when Congress, if Congress has their way, they should be making new frameworks and new regulatory entities even to regulate an asset class that has never existed before. This is an internet native asset class. The Howey test was invented to govern orange trees and orange groves. And it was literally meant, it was like there was a case, I think, in Florida of somebody selling orange trees as investment contracts. And they ruled that it was unregistered security because people were literally investing with investment contracts. I don't see any investment contracts in PulseChain, by the way. There's nobody signing pieces of paper here. There's nobody, yeah. Anyway, yeah, there's investment contracts, and this guy was promising, oh, you know, I'll do all the work for you. I'll grow all the orange trees for you, and you just get some of the profit. So he was basically like selling shares in his grow up, his orange grow up. So that was where it all began. It was, I think, in the 1930s. So it's 2023. The Howey test is almost 90 years old. The SEC itself is almost that old as well. So it's an archaic, dying three-letter agency that just needs to figure it out and just realize that they're playing in a totally different game, or maybe create some new regulatory structure. Or in a perfect world, in Crypto Coffee's utopia, there would just be nothing. No governing body. The market will regulate itself. But then you get freaking a new bonk every 5 days. So I don't know what's better, guys. We probably do need some framework, but I'm generally not a fan of any regulation. Smaller government, because all these things end up just being regulatory captured in the long run anyway, right? You know, the FDA, regulatory captured on the food industry. The CDC, regulatory captured big pharma industry. It's revolving door. The same people that work at Pfizer, they go to work at the CDC. They get something on their promotion, they go right back around. And guess what? The financial industry is also captured by the SEC, the IRS, probably, Treasury, the Fed, and the banking sector. They're all in bed with each other. Hey, Pavka, thank you for the tip. He says, your tutorials are so good, highly appreciated, and happy, healthy 24 to you and all RH ecosystem participants. Thank you, Pavka, for the 100 CZK. I'm an ignorant American, so I don't know what that is. CZK, let's see. CZK currency. Czech Republic. Hey, awesome. Shout out to you over in the Czech Republic over there. Shout out to you. Oh, I was supposed to do another shout out. Hold on a second, everybody. Somebody once asked me something. He said, where is this guy? Somebody wanted me to give them a shout out. Hold on, I'll find it. I didn't forget about you. God damn it. Who wanted me to shout them out? I'll find it eventually. Man, if you're watching and you know who you are, I was supposed to give somebody a shout out. Now I feel bad because I can't find it, but whatever. I'll go find it eventually. Maybe on the next stream, guys. Maybe on the next stream. Bonk. HOA teddy bear could be our bonk. Yeah, I mean, HOA is another one of those that doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. Like, those guys are probably sticking around for a long time. So, you know, there's some meme, like, you can kind of tell after a while if meme coins are literally just pump and dumps or if there's actually a community there, actually a set of believers that's going to carry the narrative on. That's really a lot of this stuff in general. It's just not, if you just don't die, don't rug, and be honest about what you're doing. Crazy, shocker, right? Imagine people being honest about their intentions. Well, some meme coin communities are, right? They're not all terrible evil. I'm just very skeptical on the long-termness of all of them, right? Like, will Bonk be around in 2 years? I think probably not. But, you know, I was wrong about Doge. Seems like I was wrong about Shiba. But, again, for every 2 meme coins that work out, there's 2,000 that fail. So people only like to look at the winners. They don't care about the thousands and thousands of meme coins that literally, they pump for a month, they die off, the original insiders take their profit, and they go away forever. I mean, you can't deny that. There are so many dead meme coins, and people just don't talk about it. But then there's also some that do incredibly well. But yeah, crypto is a game of attrition, right? It's just don't die. Stay relevant. Keep beating the drum. Keep consistent messaging. That's one thing the PulseChain and Hex community are extremely good at, is consistent messaging over time and being adaptable and inclusive to more people. You know, when you see a Bitcoin maxi out there and they say everything sucks except for my coin, that's not inclusive. That does not make you want to join in, right? The Hex, PulseChain, PulseX community, we love to educate. We're fun. We make a bunch of memes, right? We do all the marketing ourselves, and it's all organic and grassroots, which is why I think people like it, because they know nobody's being sold anything. No one's being paid off under the table. Like, I've never been paid to promote Hex, PulseChain, or anything. And the hundreds of other content creators I know on Twitter, YouTube, or whatever, TikTok, Super Hex Win on TikTok, El Hexadente on TikTok. Shout out to all those guys. They're not being paid. It's a labor of love, okay? And that's what's so weird for people, but it's also why it's so attractive and why I'm so confident, too, that this is not going anywhere and it's not going to die, right? If it's all a battle of narrative memes, then the meme only dies when the last person stops talking about it. So it's only getting bigger, right? Like, all the stats, all the social metrics have actually only gone up in the bear market. If you look at Lunar Crush, let's look at lunarcrush.com. I'll show you guys something. Or lunarcrush.io, I believe. Oh, that's probably not it. Lunar. Oh, it is. It was. All right. Let's look at Hex, for example. Oh. What the hell? I haven't been to this website in a while. Hex. All right, let's take a look at Hex. So you can see the price over here, but you can also see the social engagement. And now they mostly pull this from Twitter. I don't think they pull this from YouTube or anything else, but let's measure. What? Discover. They changed this website up a little bit. Jeez, what the hell's going on here? It's just a Twitter feed. All right, show me Hex. And show me the social metrics. Are they making everybody pay for it now? That's garbage. Well, I was going to show you guys something pretty cool, but if they're making people pay for accounts now, it's pretty lame. All right, you're going to have to take my word for it. But basically, guys, the social metrics have gone up extremely in the bear market on Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX. Even though the price went down, the social metrics went way up. And trading, sometimes people call that divergence in trading. So that's a bullish signal. When things aren't lining up, right? When all the on-chain statistics tell you that the price of these things should actually be much higher than it is today, that's a huge opportunity to capitalize on. And that's where we're at today. We're at the bottom. We're at the very, very low points where people are, they're rage quitting. They don't believe anymore. But if you look at the daily active users, you look at the number of stakers, even the number of Hex stakers, which in my opinion is the best long-term metric of adoption in Hex and in the whole ecosystem, right? Because when somebody becomes a Hex staker, they vote by putting their money where their mouth is, right? They vote to, here, let me pull it up. Let me pull up the chart. They vote to take Hex off the table by making a contract with their self, and they're locking for an average of 7 years. 7 years in Hex is the average. Now, some people are locking for 1. A lot of people are doing multiple locks, staking ladder system. That's what I'm doing. It's worked out fabulously for me. And a lot of other people I know. There's still a lot of winners in Hex, especially people that got in the first year. And I think I could do that all over again, because when you look at the numbers, again, the number of stakers in PulseChain, right now we're at 126,000. So look, it's still going up in the bear market. Now it's going up less fast. It's going up at a slower rate, but it's not going down, which means every single day there's more and more believers. And the believers are the most important thing in the ecosystem, because when you take coins, you buy them on the market, you lock them up for, let's say, 5 years. You are committed, you are in it, and you're expressing your belief in the project, the protocol, for at least 5 years. You're basically betting, I think the price is going to be way higher in 5 years than it is today, and I want to make some yield in the process. Trustless yield, by the way, that's the innovation with Hex. Trustless yield, no middlemen. So Bitcoin can't make you yield trustlessly. And there's more and more of these people. Even at a slower rate, there's still more and more of them. If this number were going down, I'd be concerned, but it just keeps going up, right? More and more users every single day, little by little. Now, it did kind of taper off right around the fork day, right? Because everyone was confused about eHex or pHex. But it seems like, obviously, pHex right now is the more popular chain to stake on because of the gas fees, of course, because of the gas fees. But you look at the Ethereum stakers, that's around 120,000 today, whereas PulseChain total stakers is 126,685. Always going up, guys. One of many bullish metrics. I mean, here's like the daily Hex payout per T-share per day. That's slowly going up too. T-shares are getting more and more scarce, and the payout is higher every day. So get your T-shares in now. You might thank yourself in 10 years, right? Your future self might thank you if you set up your staking ladder right now. It might. It might, guys. You've got, in my opinion, it's like very limited downside and almost infinite upside, right? The upside is whatever the humans can imagine that the price is capable of. There's no upper bound on the price. The downside is whatever you put in, right? But look at it. If you take the assumption that it's not going to zero, even if it does, let's say bad by crypto standards, let's say Hex only does a 10x, that would actually be considered bad. I think it's probably going to do 100x this cycle, from bottom to top of the cycle, okay? It's a prediction, no crystal ball, just a prediction. But if you just bet that this doesn't go to zero and the price is higher than it is today, then it almost feels to me like it's too risky not to at least just make a staking ladder for the next maybe 10 years. Maybe you don't want to wait 15 years. Maybe you do like 2 stakes a year, or maybe 4 stakes a year, 1 stake a quarter. Maybe now for the next, 6, 7, 8 years. You might be incredibly happy that you did, because that's one of the things that Hex allows you to do that PLS doesn't and PulseX doesn't. It doesn't allow you to protect yourself from yourself. You are your own worst enemy, and when you lock these coins up, you're making yield on them. You're getting rewarded to delay gratification. Whereas a lot of people, it's much easier to dump PLS and PulseX because you can get scared and shaken out psychologically. That goes back to the whole Twitter thing. Like, if you follow the wrong people, I literally know there's these people out there that just make FUD accounts with the sole intention of FUDding. And they'll call themselves like XYZ research, right? They'll put like research in their name to try to give them like a credible title. And they'll just like take the most doomer negative take on everything to try to FUD people out. And sometimes it might even be to collect cheaper coins for themselves, right? But I mean, if you just follow these people that only want to FUD, and they don't even own the coin anyway, a lot of times people don't even own the coin. They just like to invent stories and FUD. And they get people to shake themselves out with, no credible background, no credible facts or information. So, and that sucks because in Hex, you can't do that. But it sucks to see people, oh, I'm scared that Pulse is down, I don't know, 35% from sacrifice price. 35% dip in crypto, guys, that happens. That's happened sometimes. It doesn't go up in a straight line, but I think the long-term holders are going to be rewarded on this one. But yeah, that's what Hex does that not a lot of other coins do. The psychological aspect of insulating yourself from yourself is probably the best thing about it. Let's see. Hi, Coffee. PulseX more than 3% gone in 8 months in a bear market. Yeah, that's right, guys. That's right. Let's talk about the PulseX burn, huh? Hold on. Where are you? BitHex wants to talk about the PulseX burn. Check this out, everybody. Check this out. We have got, well, 0.43% of the total supply, but if we take out the origin address coins, okay, a lot of people assume the O8 coins are not circulating. It's because they never have circulated, so it's a reasonable assumption. The Hex origin address has only ever acted positively for Hex. The only time the Hex origin address has moved coins was to protect Hex. And those coins also haven't moved in probably 2 or 3 years. So if we just estimate that, the OA owns about 90% of the coins, maybe, then we've got over 3% of the total PulseX supply burned today. 625 billion PulseX has been bought and burned. It's never coming back. Those coins are gone, burned forever. So out of the total supply that is circulating, let's say there's about 21 trillion coins circulating. 3% of the supply burned after day 232. This is day 232, guys. We're at 7.5 months here. Imagine on year 2, year 3, year 4. I mean, if we burn, let's say we burn 4% a year, in 5 years, we're going to have burned 20% of the total supply. And it probably is only going to accelerate too. Like this number, what people don't realize is it's gotten to 3% already. And we're just getting started. We're just getting warmed up. Imagine when the volume really picks up and gets to, maybe a quarter even of Uniswap's volume. Even if we do 1/10 of Uniswap's volume, that number is going to accelerate faster and faster. It's pretty exciting to think about, guys. You can stake your PLS and start mining. Finbear says you can stake your PLS and start mining it. I guess you can stake your PLS. That's absolutely true. Yeah, that's absolutely right. But you can always, there is the risk. You need to be a little more technical for that. But yeah, if you want to start validating, you can stake your PLS as well. That might help you protect yourself from yourself. Now, there's no penalty really if you want to stop validating at any time. It's not like you have to really wait that long. The whole Hex thing is like, it's a time lock with consequences. In PLS, there are consequences if you don't keep your validator up and running. But, you can kind of end your validator whenever you want to. I think there's a couple days cooldown period and stuff. But yeah, you can do that. Straw Hat Golf says, I missed Pulse. I sacrificed PulseX several days ago. I added some USD ammo to get into Pulse. Nice, man. Looking at price and waiting to strike and enter PLS. That's amazing to hear. That's good for you, dude. Straw Hat Golf says you missed the Pulse sacrifice. It almost feels like a blessing in disguise now, doesn't it? You can literally buy it lower than people like me that bought in at the sacrifice price. Now, that said, I'm still very happy that I did sacrifice, because when you think about what you would have done with that Hex, a lot of people sacrificed Hex, right? And PulseX launched, or the PulseChain sac, it happened when Hex was 17 cents. So a lot of people, they put in a lot of USD value worth of Hex at 17 cents. And now, some people take a negative viewpoint and they're like, oh, well, I wish I never sacrificed at all. And it's like, really though? Because what would you have done? I know what I would have done. I probably would have just round tripped the whole thing. I would have just held my Hex all the way up and all the way back down. And, everyone's like in hindsight, oh, I would have timed the market. I would have sold the top. I don't think so. If I'm being honest with myself, I think if I didn't sacrifice that Hex, I would have just been holding the bag. And holding the bag from 17 cents down to 1 penny, 1.5 cents if you count the combined Hex price, it's about a 90% drop, 91% drop in the USD paper value. Okay, obviously. And because I sacrificed, well, I got coins locked in at a certain price. And now that even though PLS is down, it's down 37%, it seems. It's down, but it's not, I'll take being negative 37% down than negative 90% down, right? It protected the US dollar price for me personally, because I know I was not going to just sell the top like a genius. I probably would have just held that sacrifice stuff. So people ask, would you do a sacrifice again? I would if it was at more of the top of the market. I think sacrificing at the top of the market actually saved a lot of people from just round tripping stuff. Except for all the geniuses that would have timed the market perfectly, of course. What else do we have here, guys? What else do we have in the chat? I sacked BTC, so I am down. Oh, yeah, well, Bitcoin's a different story. What was Bitcoin back then? Yeah, if you sacked Ethereum, I know Ethereum's about at the same price it was today. A lot of other altcoins, though, is probably a very good idea to get rid of those so you're not holding the bag on those. Yeah, if you sack Bitcoin, you might be down, but look, guys, a lot more potential. Just what can help me sleep at night, knowing that I'm not in Bitcoin right now, is just infinite more potential, guys. I mean, if you're still holding Bitcoin, we're really, really lucky if that goes to 120K. I actually got rid of all my Bitcoin in 2020. And now if I wanted to play it safe, right, I'd revert back to Ethereum. That's just how I look at things, because even ETH is going to outperform Bitcoin. That's not what the Bitcoin maxis want you to think, but look where the innovation is happening, guys. People are like, I don't understand how people could say, oh, Ethereum is going to die, or all the other altcoins are going to die, and it's only going to be Bitcoin. Like, that just seems like people are lying to themselves. Look, I mean, people are fighting about innovation happening on Bitcoin, right? They can't even agree if ordinals should be removed, and they're trying to censor ordinals on the Bitcoin blockchain. Meanwhile, Ethereum is only getting better. They're going to introduce proto-dank sharding. I know these names, right? But sharding is it's going to make Ethereum gas fees 10x to 100x cheaper on the Ethereum blockchain with EIP 4844. So EIP 4844 is coming, and that's going to make Ethereum fees a lot cheaper. Now they're still going to be really high because you've got, if Ethereum fees are $200 to swap, well, making them 10x cheaper is still $20. It's still pretty high, right? And it's all going to depend on how busy the network is and stuff. But then guess what? PulseChain gets to adopt that change too, assuming everything goes well. So PulseChain remains cheaper, and it continues to get all the benefits of the new updates made to the consensus clients and the Geth. All right, Straw Hat said sold at $119. Good for you. Sold what? Solana? Yeah, good for those people getting Solana profits out there. If you have any Solana profits, congratulations. Very skeptical on that thing. I mean, it's going to go up still in the bull market, but I really think PulseChain is going to pump harder, man. I really think with all the energy, all the pent-up energy we've got here, all the builders, all the people promoting, everybody knows about PulseChain. And you've got major influencers that, look, I don't have any factual evidence for this, but judging by what they've said online, I guess you can watch their actions. If you count tweets as actions, then I guess you can look at people like Ivan on Tech, people like Suppoman, people like Mason, people like, there's big name, high profile guys, even Altcoin Daily. Look, again, these are all allegations, but in my conspiracy theory, I think they got a bag of Pulse. And I think they might have a bag of PulseX. I think they might even have a bag of Hex, if they understand how these things all are liquidity bonded together. These mainstream guys, I think, are buying right now or have a small position, if anything, but they don't want to talk about it because they perceive it to be reputation risk. Now, that's funny because I think their reputation would go way up because they'd get all of our support. Blockchain Boy, I think Blockchain Boy publicly admitted, and these are influencers with a lot of followers, but it's almost in our favor that they're not talking about it publicly yet, because what they do, a lot of the mainstream guys in their playbook, is they buy first, the coin goes up, then they tell you about it as they're selling the coin on your head. Whereas we've all been just talking about it the entire bear market, allowing you to, accumulate your position now. Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of these mainstream influencers come out of the closet, come out of the PulseChain Hex closet, so to speak. Let's see. What was I going to say? I had another topic. Let's go back, shall we? Oh yeah, Internet Money, guys. Internet Money and Hex Scout, both live on the App Store. Internet Money is a new crypto wallet that just launched on iOS, Android, and Google Web Store. So it's a Chrome extension as well. The first ever major PulseChain centric PulseChain first wallet, decentralized self-custody wallet, however you want to call it. Internet Money, congrats to those guys, because it's hard to get on the app stores. It was hard for them to get on the Apple App Store, but this just gives PulseChain that much more legitimacy, and it gives us a backup if and when MetaMask decides to shit the bed We've got cool ecosystem maps. We've got cool new bots giving 1,000 free PLS to everybody that bridges over. So if you bridge into PulseChain today, if you didn't watch my last video, you're getting 1,000 free Pulse. You're getting 1,000 free coins just for bridging in. And that's enough to pay for gas fees. That's enough to pay for a couple of transactions, many transactions actually. And it's enough to at least buy some more Pulse so that you don't ever have to worry about gas ever again. They've got a cool new ecosystem map on the pulsecoinlist.com. Let's pull these up. PulseCoinlist.com. So we also have our own coin ranking site, by the way. PulseCoinlist.com. One-handed typing here, guys. Don't mind me. Still don't have a stand for this mic, so I'm just... my forearms are getting pretty big, though. Don't worry. Because of the mic, of course. Why else would they? No. Top cryptocurrencies on PulseChain. All right, so we've got PulseCoinlist.com. And you got Bridge Buddy bot is something that they've built. Bridge Buddy is this bot that's basically funding everybody's wallet. So if you're brand new to crypto and if you want to get into PulseChain, go to bridge.pulsechain.com, get your coins, get your Ethereum over from, expensive Ethereum land and go where you're treated better. Go to the PulseChain network. And if you do so, you're going to get 1,000 PLS for free. So we've already funded 468 new wallets and it's only been 9 days. And this is awesome, guys. This is actually a pretty good statistic of new users as well. I mean, we can see how many people have been added in the last 9 days. It'd be fun to plot this over, over a number of days. But these new people that come in, they're much more likely to become active PulseChain users, especially when they realize how low the fees are and how they can pretty much do whatever they want for only a couple of pennies. Also, if you want to donate to this address too, we do need to keep this balance topped up. So we've got 13 million Pulse in there right now, almost 14 million. We're going to last for a while on that. That's going to last us for, 13,000 more people can essentially be onboarded and not have to worry about gas. But, if this number dwindles down, consider donating. 100% of the funds go toward funding new wallets. And again, this is a bot. It automatically will send you 1,000 free PLS just for bridging over. Pretty cool, guys. Pretty cool. They've also got this ecosystem map. Check out this ecosystem map over here, guys. Loading. But here, this is going to show you the power of PulseChain. This visual representation shows you just how awesome PulseChain is. View all. Well, we've got tons and tons of projects here, but I wanted to see the map. Here we go. View map. Look at this, guys. 178 projects on PulseChain. 178 legit projects, and we've got probably a lot more than that. I mean, these are just what's listed right now. And so if you want your project listed on here, you can also go and message them as well. It would be pretty good to get your coin listed on here. Just, as long as you're not a scammer. Analytics websites, Coast, DeFi Llama, INC Supply, Dexes, DeFi, all these DeFi protocols. There must be like 30 or 40 DeFi protocols. Fiat on-ramps. We've got Pulse LN. You could literally buy Pulse with Cash App, by the way. Let's Exchange. I don't think Let's Exchange is currently supporting PLS anymore. Gardarian. What I think they should add is Change Now. And I think they should also add StealthX.io. So we've actually, and Kenga.exchange. So we've got like 3 more on-ramps here that I don't see listed yet. Web3, Pulse Domains is going to be huge. People can actually make decentralized websites. People can make decentralized, human-readable websites that point to IPFS that would be like cryptocoffee.pls. It's awesome. People don't understand how big Web3 identity is going to be. Pulse Domains is going to basically make, they have ENS. That means Ethereum name service. But PNS, PulseChain name service, is going to be actually affordable for everybody to do. So ENS can't really work right now because gas fees are too high. PNS could have a lot of potential there, especially when it comes to decentralizing everything, and making things truly censorship resistant. Content, we've got the Pulse Conference, How to Pulse, the Pulse Tube. We've got 4 different wallets at least, probably more. Privacy, Block Blend that's the Fiat debit card off ramp, and then Beetroot's got an interesting, like, you stake and unstake, and you could make a fresh wallet on Beetroot kind of. Community. All right, we've got a whole bunch of stuff. Atlanta Blockchain Center, PulseChain Tour going all across the USA. Shout out to a Wild SJ, RG3, richardhart.com, Go Pulse, Hex postcards being sent out every day. It's just a thriving ecosystem, guys. The bridges, tons of different bridges, tons of NFT marketplaces. I think we've got even more than these 6. But yeah, we seem to have a ton of NFT places. Beatbox is a big one. Hex Toys is a big one. Mintra, Pixel Park has been talked about for a while. NFT on Pulse. All right, we got a bunch of tools, got a bunch of social gaming, a bunch of mobile apps, all this Hex-related stuff, all these meme coins. Look at all these meme coins. Hey, you like meme coins, guys? Because we've got them over here. My God, do we have meme coins? Let me tell you. NFT projects. Heart Army is kind of cool, I guess. Letheus. Like, I don't really buy NFTs, but, you know, if you're into it, check out these. Like, Heart Army and Letheus are 2 that I've heard of before. Pulse Punks I've heard of. Pulse Kittens I've heard of. I think I minted some for free. I don't know. They're worth like $5. So cool. Not bad, right? All this stuff here. All this stuff. Now, here's a conspiracy theory. Look, if you guys like conspiracy theories, I haven't heard this one except for my friend the other day was talking to me about this. He was talking about INC token. Essentially, he was like, you know, what if INC token is the spear for the rest of the ecosystem because it's the easiest to pump, right? INC could be the easiest to pump. Like, it seems to have been bottoming out. Now, of course, it can always go lower, but let's turn this to a log chart. I don't know. Has INC found a bottom? Time will tell. But look at this chart. Obviously, it looks terrible because it inflated from 0. A lot of people just take profit on their INC coin, or like me, I've been rotating it into PLS and PulseX. Like, I've just been buying more. I've been accumulating more of the coins I like. But INC started at 0 supply. So it's the only one in the Richard Heart ecosystem that you could say has a quote unquote fair launch right now. That's all relative. You know, fair launch is just like whatever people want it to be. There's not really an agreed upon definition of that, but it started at 0 supply. And the only way to mint INC token is to be a liquidity provider. So people are always talking about, oh, well, how is the origin address going to pump my bags? Like, we need the origin address to do all the work for me. So he's like, well, here's actually a bullish conspiracy theory. If a benevolent whale wanted to pump any coin, knowing that INC is so heavily tied to Pulse and PulseX, it probably would be the easiest to pump this coin. It probably would be the easiest to pump it, because let's go take a look at app.pulsex.com. I mean, not a lot of people are buying INC, but has it found a bottom? I don't know. On December 13th, it seemed to have maybe found a bottom. Maybe, guys. This is all conjecture. Now, a lot of people just perma-dump INC forever, right? But let's go to app.pulsex.com, and let's go to, we're going to act as if we were buying INC token. Basically, the theory is that if you were a benevolent whale, it would not be hard to pump the crap out of INC token with, let's say, even $100,000. If you won $100,000, you put that into INC token, that makes the price go up 5%. $1 million, 31%. And this might actually be even higher. Like, it's basically easier to pump INC because of its lower liquidity than, $1 million put into Pulse. It wouldn't go up as much. Let's see, $1 million into Pulse. You're only going to have 13% price impact. Now, I know that doesn't equate directly to how much the price goes up. But long story short, INC is easier to pump, lower liquidity. Could be a spearhead for a benevolent whale if you want to paint the chart. God whale, if you're listening. Any other benevolent whale. Alex, not you, but any other benevolent whale. Look, if you want to make INC go up and paint a nice green candle on here, that could really cause a lot of commotion, right? People would be talking about it. People would be like, oh my God, why is INC pumping? Should I ape in? Does somebody know something? People invent all this stuff as, like, when the price goes up, people will invent a whole bunch of stories to tell themselves why the price went up. When really it's like the news follows the price for the majority of time. 90% of the time, not all the time. Sometimes the price follows the news. Sometimes something actually happens, like the SEC throws a lawsuit at you. Yes, that was probably the price following the news. But usually the news follows the price. The news comes after the price. So, it would just get people talking. Why did INC pump? No one expected INC to pump. Everyone's like, should I actually buy INC? Should I have been buying INC the whole time? And then Pulse goes up and PulseX goes along with it. And it's easier because they're liquidity bonded to pump the whole ecosystem, starting off with INC. Just a theory, might not be true. You guys could all tell me why that's wrong. It might be a terrible idea. But look, hey, anybody with a couple $1 million to throw around, if we're gonna sit around and ask other people to pump our bags for us, like some people like to do, some people just like to hope. So if you want some hopium, pump INC, please. Daddy Whales, please pump INC. But I don't like to sit around and just hope and pray that other people do things. I'm a big fan. One other reason I love the community so much is because we take action. Like, a lot of us are actually doers, and we're not just armchair quarterbacks. But most other crypto communities, when you look there, you go into these crypto community telegrams, and it's just a bunch of people complaining, why is the price down? Any news? Like, it's literally a meme. People ask, any news? Or can the devs do something? That's a really, really common one. Can the devs please do something to pump my bags? Whereas in the PulseChain Hex ecosystem, you are the network. We are all the network. And I think because we realize that, that's what makes this so different than everything else out there. So yes, there's always going to be people that are armchair quarterbacks. Like, I think the OA needs to put $1 bajillion into Hex and pump my bag. Yeah, sure, you could do that. But believing and having conviction is better than sitting around and hoping, right? Like, to just sit around and hope that someone else does something. I personally don't like to do that, because that puts me in a helpless position where I'm giving all my power and I'm placing it into the hands of somebody else. Whereas a lot of us, we actually get up and talk and promote, and we build cool stuff. And, I'm not saying everybody needs to go do something, but a lot of people just, they sit around and they have hopium forever. And then they get really upset when, stuff doesn't go their way that they were hoping for. But if you're hoping for stuff, that's just a list of future disappointments that you're basically writing yourself a list of things to be disappointed about. So I think just hoping rather than believing is the wrong frame of reference. And when I say believing, I mean having conviction, selling yourself on the idea before you could sell other people on the idea, understanding why these things have value props. Like, knowledge is power. And if you have more knowledge, you're more likely to believe in something, have conviction in it, because you have information on your side. And, I'm not saying, everybody needs to go out. I'm not telling anybody what to do with their lives. But it's a really, in my opinion, better mindset to take than sitting around and hoping. Because then it's like when people have roadmaps, right? A roadmap is just a list of future disappointments that the team may or may not deliver on. So everyone wants a roadmap, but nobody wants to do any work to help the roadmap become achieved. And that's kind of life in general. That's all of crypto. That's all of stocks, right? When you're betting on a stock, you really literally are betting on the profiting from the work of others. But because we're not doing that here, I think that's why a lot of people maybe have that same stock mentality sometimes. But yeah, that's, again, the PulseChain and Hex ecosystem is something else, man. We are definitely doing things a little different around here. RH Max knows. What's up, Coffee? What's up, RH Max? RH Max is one of those guys. This guy made GoRealDeFi.com. Great example of just a community member taking things into his own hands. And he said, look, I don't like all these decentralized websites, RH Max is a fan. He understands IPFS, but he also understands that people, DeFi, can't even spell it right. He also understands that people are new and they don't always want to understand things or download software. Sometimes they just want to go to a website, make it real easy for them. So he created this, GoRealDeFi.com. It's got all your links right here. And by the way, if you haven't bookmarked this website yet, link in description below. Bookmark it right now. If you're brand new to PulseChain, you need to bookmark GoRealDeFi.com. You've got the Hex staking, you've got the bridge, you've got the launchpad, the Ethereum side DEX, you've got the PulseX DEX, you've got the Blockchain Explorer. You can even buy PLS. It'll link you up here to what is this, Coast? Oh, no, it'll link you to Change Now. Yeah, Coast might be a little too new. You can learn to earn, right? You can actually just watch tutorial videos over here, connect your MetaMask wallet, and all kinds of useful stuff. Really just big, user-friendly buttons. They do exactly what they say they're going to do. Like, click on bridge, it'll take you to the bridge, right? And it's hosted on IPFS. So these links all use the IPFS software in the background. And it's great, right? You will never have to go to another website again as long as GoRealDeFi is up and running. So, A lot of people were complaining, oh, there's too many websites and no one's going to understand IPFS. Well, first of all, a lot of people seem to be okay with it. There's a lot of people that are doing just fine, adapting to the new thing. And things can get better. I agree. The user experience could be a little bit better on those websites. But if you don't want to take the time, or if you don't want to just refer a new friend and say, hey, check out gorealdefi.com. It's got all the links you need right on the homepage. This might be better for some people that are brand new to crypto, that don't understand about downloading DeFi or IPFS. And then over time, hopefully they can understand the decentralized way of doing things. And hopefully they'll have a little more clarity about what happens when you're actually running this software. Like, running this software is different than running a regular website, because it's hosted in a decentralized way. So that's one of the cool things about real crypto, real DeFi, Hex, PulseChain. A lot of crypto is kind of like a Web 2, Web 3 hybrid, right? It's like we're hosted on a centralized Web 2 website, which the DOJ could take down whenever they want to. We've seen it happen with Tornado Cash. But with Tornado Cash, for example, they cannot take down the smart contract. It's immutable. It still lives on the blockchain. People still use it. And other people can just make different front-end websites to plug in and let you edit the code on the Tornado Cash smart contract. So understanding that will put you ahead of like 90% of people in crypto or in general. Nobody understands what we're doing here yet. And eventually we're going to go towards IPFS decentralized websites. Like these right here, you don't even know that you're using IPFS, but these are all hosted through IPFS gateways, and they point to official IPFS apps. People shouldn't maybe even need to know, just like people don't know what HTTPS is. They don't need to know. And one day in the future, I would like to see, like I'm on Brave browser right now, for example. Brave browser is really good because you can make it into an IPFS browser just by updating a setting. And you could just go to the IPFS hashes and all that. But I think more and more browsers in the future are going to support IPFS. Also, with the Ethereum name service fork, .pns domain names, we can make human-readable links to IPFS websites. So I guess just realize that we don't live in a static world. Things are always getting better. And in the near future, I'm talking maybe like 3, 4, 5 years from now, I think we're going to move fully towards a Web 3 world. Like, it's not going to be Web 2, Web 3 hybrid. It's going to be, you're logging into your computer. You go to cryptocoffee.pls. Crypto Coffee decided to host the Hex staking front end on his website. You're using a browser that has IPFS native integration, so you don't even need to type you don't need to copy paste a complicated hash. You can go to, xyz.pls, human readable domain, and instead of being a .com, the .pls or the .eth websites are pointing towards IPFS things that your browser actually supports, IPFS hashes that are not hosted on any central computer that literally cannot be taken down. So that's the user experience I want to see. And I kind of see things going there in a way, but yeah, shout out to Max, gorealdefi.com. Shout out to you, Max. What are we at in the chat, guys? YouTube issue stuck at 143 likes. Come on, guys, smash the likes. That's pretty good, though. That's like half of all the people. So yeah, that's my Nostradamus prediction, I guess. We really are in Web 2, Web 3 hybrid, and people like Max are out here helping us move towards eventually a fully Web 3 ecosystem. By the way, Max, if you're listening, you should try to get gorealdefi.pls. Maybe I shouldn't have said that because now some other asshole's going to get it now. But no, make sure you get that reserved. Talk to the PLS guys, the PNS domain guys, and make sure they reserve that for you ahead of time. Otherwise, you can just buy some other domain name and, we're going to all be making decentralized websites in the future, guys, and the people won't even know that they're decentralized. Adam Chadwick says, INC will melt faces eventually. It might have had a reversal, dude. Dude, I don't even know, but looking at the INC chart, I don't want to speak too soon on this, right? But INC could be, and I think I've even heard Sami talking about this, that INC at some point will be a good buy. Like, it will not dump forever. And has it bottomed here? Like, is the fact that we bottomed at 41 cent INC, is that indicative of a larger bull market in the entire Richard Heart ecosystem? I don't know, guys. Something worth talking about. Yes, it's a conspiracy, but there could be some truth here. Look at this horizontal line. We bottomed at 40 cents for now. We could make a lower low. We could make a lower low, but if you want to keep your eye on the INC chart as kind of an indicator of, well, if people are bullish on INC, if they're buying the coin with no use case, then, you know, we're back, baby. Like, it's great. But, you know, that's not also to say that INC will never have a use case. People are going to invent use cases for INC. We've also seen Pulse DAO. You know, you could stake INC token today and earn CDs as a reward. PulseDAO.pro, PulseDAO.pro. Check that one out. But I mean, nobody's really using it yet. And people are going to keep being creative with INC. It's just kind of open pastures here. Is that the right term? Blue skies on INC. No one's done much with it yet. Most people have just dumped it. But can you imagine also if it gets used for voting? Here's something people don't know about INC too, is that there was actually something written in the code comments. And it's hard to find this anymore because I think they made it private. I don't think you can view the code anymore. But I think Dipcatcher maybe, or Gold Key, or one of those guys, I think they caught some comments in the code about INC potentially being used as a voting token to vote in protocol upgrades after, you know, PulseChain has existed for X amount of time. You wouldn't want to do that too early because you want it to be decentralized enough to the fact that, you know, in theory, if INC only accrues towards people that provide liquidity, because providing liquidity is the only way to mint INC, and the long-term holders have to be liquidity providers and believers in the coin, or, you know, people could buy it off the open market, of course, as well. Well, if they're buying a coin now and hoarding a coin now with no use case at all, just because it's part of the Richard Heart ecosystem, maybe they are more valid, more diehard fans of the Richard Heart ecosystem in general. Perhaps they might be more qualified to actually vote in the future of the protocol. And we could also, you know, hypothesize maybe some origin address related entity could also be accruing INC, but there's no way to know really on that one. There's no way to know. 159 likes, very good. That's right, Pumpkin Owl. That's right. IPFS seems a tad buggy. Yeah, well, the gateways are sometimes buggy. I should make a tutorial about how to run it on Brave yourself. Now, Richard Heart does not like Brave browser. I forgot why. He said this like 2 or 3 years ago. Something why Brave sucks. But, I mean, it's Chromium based. Like, it uses the same open source software that Chrome allows people to use to make a new browser. But, I don't know. It's pretty good for IPFS. I like it. It seems to be pretty private. I don't use Brave's crypto stuff. I don't trust Brave with their native crypto wallet built in. So I would not recommend that. But I like it for the fact that, you know, it's semi-private. I think it's even got Tor browser built in. It's got IPFS gateway, or it's got an IPFS native built in. It's got features like deletes browsing history and stuff. They tried to use basic attention token, BAT, to like run ads and stuff, but I don't think that's gonna go anywhere. Ellie Coop just subscribed. Thank you, Ellie Coop. Believe in yourself. Why are there only 6 likes on the video? Refresh the page, bro. Refresh the page. Are your likes on the Ethereum network or something? Lol. Yeah. Thank you for the subscribing. Also, believe in yourself. And Ellie Coop. And Ton G. I didn't even... Crap. Sorry, guys. I didn't see these people subscribe. Ton GG, thanks for subscribing. Pavka, thank you for becoming a member. Pavka, cheers to you. Give you a little Hex Great Gatsby there. Will the Hex T-share reach 10 per day? Probably yes, in like 5 years, maybe 4 years. It's going to start going up pretty exponential. I mean, Hex for T-shares has a good question about the Hex daily payout per T-share per day, or it's just a good point in general. Let me pull up the Hex chart here. Okay. Here's the T-share daily. God damn it. This site keeps bugging out on me. Apex.win. Come on. Just kidding. You guys are great. You guys are awesome. But let's try to get a stable website up here. Okay. So yeah, this pink line, this chart that I have right now is daily payout per T-share. This chart that I have on the screen. You're starting to see it decouple away from 6 and go up slowly, little by little, 6.7, 6.8. This is going to go up more as more T-shares are burnt out of existence and as T-shares get more scarce, because the same amount of inflation is going to be split among a lower number of T-shares. And I believe that the pre-big payday stakes are one of the biggest detriments to this number going up, right? Or they're one of the biggest things holding this number back. So think about everybody that staked before big payday, how they got a ton more T-shares. As these big payday stakes, as these pre-big payday stakes come due, no one's ever going to be able to lock in those awesome T-share rates again anymore, like ever, just because of what big payday was a day of like free. It doesn't matter. But as more of the pre-big payday shares expire, I think that's when you're going to see the daily payout per T-share per day really, really launch up. We can go to stakehex.today. Here's a website that I really like, stakehex.today. Stakehex.today is a hex staking calculator, and we can go ahead and play around on that. But I think what I like what their original estimation was is like they're looking at even in 2027, we might be at around 8.2 hex per T-share per day. By 2029, we could easily be at 10 per day. That's only 6 years from now. I mean, only 6 years. But look, if you're a long-term staker, you're basically in 5 or 6 years, you could be earning double the APY based on the T-share rate that you lock in today. Because this 6.7 number, it goes up slowly at first, but then it's everything all at once. Like look, even if it only goes to 10 hex per T-share per day by 2029, that's 6 years from now. Well, 5 years from now, actually. 5 years from now. You're still getting 33% higher yield than you are today. So when you look at the total APY numbers on some of these longer term stakes, they are actually very, very high. They're just too high. Like to tell somebody that you're going to earn 50, 60% APY in 5 years net, when in retrospect, when you look back on this stake that you made today, it sounds too good to be true, because people don't understand that longer really does pay better here. Like longer. Look, guys, do the math. Like, figure it out yourself. Go to stakehex.today. You'll figure it out. Saludos, hermano coffee. Hola, Antonio. ¿Cómo estás? Bargain basement prices on PulseChain. Train gonna be leaving the station. That's right, Pumpkin Owl. Love PHEX. Big fan of PHEX. I bought a little bit of EHEX during that hype when Evil Whale Alex, when let's call him Naughty Whale, when the Naughty Whale was buying up EHEX. I think I bought like a pretty solid chunk at like 0.006. It's down a little bit, but hey, I'm not really complaining about having more EHEX either. Just, I totally understand the staking. That's another point too, though, just to make, going back to the EIP 4844 thing. It's called sharding, SHARD. I know, they couldn't pick a better name, sharding. So the Ethereum bros are making proto-dank sharding, probably going to be within the next 2 years, probably around 2025 at some point, if I had to guess. It's going to lower the gas fees. And that's only one step of many, right? That's only the first step. Proto-dank sharding. It's the prototype. It's like step one. And they're going to that's going to allow like a new type of data that takes up less space or whatever, blob data, to be incorporated. And it's going to allow future updates to Ethereum to make the gas even lower. So it's going to reduce gas by 10 to 100x, but that's only step one. And then PulseChain, even with its price increase by then, even though it will have higher gas due to it increasing in price, adopting proto-dank sharding, EIP 4844, will also lower those gas fees. And it's not, things are always being improved in the Ethereum. That's why it's so good that we forked ETH 2.0. Like, I'm so happy that we forked ETH 2.0 and not Binance Smart Chain. Or Richard, made the last minute decision. And some people were upset because it took an extra 6 months. But man, we got so lucky with the timing that ETH 2.0 came out, because it really is the premier, like all the research that's happening, all the new innovation that's happening with the EVM chains, all the smartest guys are on Ethereum, the smartest developers. and on PulseChain. We've got some very, very smart people over here too. But we also get to watch, and we get to not reinvent the wheel, and we get to slowly take what we like from ETH 2.0. Just like you see right now, people are forking all the protocols that actually work well on Ethereum, that people actually like, and they're forking them onto PulseChain and making them usable with the cheaper gas fees. We saw this with Fame. We saw this with Fiat, phux.io. Like, they just forked really solid Ethereum protocols. And it's not as simple as copying and pasting. If it was, you try it, right? The GMX guys. There was a different fork of GMX that didn't work out so well because it's not that simple as copy and paste. But Balancer, GMX, Aave, these things are legit, and PulseChain needed them. So somebody took them, and they put them in a place where they're more usable and they're not priced out, and new users can actually join without paying an arm and a leg in gas fees. Let's see. Rebel Yell says, do the tutorial now. Well, nah, man, this is not tutorial time, but I'm all about the tutorials. You know me. It's kind of all I do. Tutorials and live streams. It's my thing. No better name than Dank Sharding. Dude, you're asking a lot out of some guy that wears unicorn shirts to work every day. Marketing is not their strong suit. We need the Ethereum aliens over there to be smarts. We don't need them to be good at marketing. We'll take over the marketing department for Ethereum. It's called PulseChain. PulseChain is the marketing department of Ethereum. But we only take the good stuff. It's really awesome. Like, Hex as a concept is also not reinventing the wheel. It was actually made to be a better Bitcoin because we know Bitcoin can be a store of value. So Bitcoin walked so that Hex could run. We said, well, wouldn't it be great if Bitcoin paid you interest? Like, there's no way to get yield out of Bitcoin unless you give it to a middleman. So Richard said, I'm just going to make trustless interest. If you're given programmable money, how come nobody's made the most basic program ever, which is a yield-bearing instrument that's actually fair to everybody? And that's what the T-share system did. So yeah, Hex is a new Bitcoin. Hex is a better Bitcoin. PulseChain's a better Ethereum. PulseX is a better Uniswap. These are concepts that have been proven out in the real world, right? Uniswap works fine for years, never been hacked. Uniswap v2 was awesome, hugely innovative. Everybody copied it because it was a good idea. But then PulseX, they slapped on the buy and burn function, and they alternated where the fee switch was routing money to. And so now you have this crazy powerhouse of a protocol where it literally goes up proportional relative to the amount of people using it. And that's kind of something that Uniswap should have done a long time ago, but they never did. So all this stuff, PulseChain, Hex, PulseX, it's not first, it's just better, right? Just like Google wasn't the first search engine. It was the better one that came along after. So you need these proof of concepts, but I know this is very, very blasphemous to say. This is like hearsay. But Bitcoin is a proof of concept. I don't believe that in 20 years, Bitcoin will be the premier store of value that it is today. Now, it's got a lot of liquidity, but it's kind of reaching the end of its lifespan. But the ETF is the nail in the coffin for Bitcoin. It's great for mainstream adoption. Sure, you could say it legitimizes Bitcoin, but it also sells Bitcoin out to the powers that be. They can now print paper Bitcoin, borrow a bunch of made up money from the Fed. They can naked short Bitcoin. And I just think you're going to see a lot of the volatility leave Bitcoin over time. Now, I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it'll be around for a very, very long time. And I'm very glad Bitcoin exists, but I don't think it will be the exciting store of value in the future. I think those things will all live on EVM chains. And that's why Hex is an app on top of an EVM chain, because it can be ported into any blockchain. It can be deployed on any blockchain. So store of value should be an app. It shouldn't be a layer one chain and an app. I believe that's the philosophy there with Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX. Now, these things are all good stores of value when they're brand new because people rush in to go buy them because, we've only got 11,000 daily active users. Imagine when that goes to 100,000. The price is going to 100x at minimum, right? If we 10x the users, Metcalfe's law says we 100x the price. And it could be more, right? Because not every user is equal. Some users put in a lot more money than other users. And bull markets, things go absolutely crazy. sometimes. But yeah. I stubbed my crypto, says it's good to see how coffee has stayed consistent for so long. P.S. He would look great wearing a pair of pit vipers. You a Tangang, bro? What's a pair of pit vipers? I don't even know what that means. Sorry, bro, I don't get the reference, but thank you, I guess. Pumpkin Owl says, hey, coffee, let's put a little eggnog in your coffee. It's great, no alcohol. What? Eggnog in my coffee? Disgusting. Hex is the first and best blockchain CD. I love it. I agree, Pumpkin Owl. Actually, I can't remember the last time I had eggnog. Hold on a second. I think I have to be somewhere, guys. I think I have to be somewhere. You guys want to know how much Twitter I do a day? Let me check my screen time. Only 26 minutes of Twitter today on my phone. More if you count desktop, though. All right, I think I got to go, guys. Shit, yep, I got to go. Guys, like, subscribe. I also have a course if you're brand new to crypto. Check out hexpassiveincome.com. Get it before it's too late. Get it before the train leaves the station. 2024 going to be an awesome year. Tons of builders. Fed reversing rates. Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin ETF. Ethereum ETF. CPI is coming down. Things are looking great. Not financial advice, but I'm going to be done buying at some point. And I'm not done buying yet. So we'll be lucky if we have 3 to 4 more months. And maybe we won't. I don't know. It's not potty time. I got to go pick somebody up from the airport. But and also it probably is potty time. All right, guys. If you're brand new to crypto, hexpassiveincome.com. Educating yourself is the best possible thing you can do. Knowledge is literally power. Just knowing how to do crypto the right way can save you months of time and thousands of dollars in mistakes that you could make from getting scammed or not having long-term thinking. And you don't really even need the course. All my information is free on YouTube. But if you want somebody to hold your hand through it, check out Hex Passive Income. Thank you all for coming. All 275 of you. You guys are great. The PulseChain community kicks ass. Everybody's awesome. 95% of you guys are amazing people. And that's a statistic that I just made up. But everyone, keep working hard. Stay consistent out there. Spend some time with your family, I guess. Happy New Year. I hope you're all having a great New Year's Eve tomorrow.